Today I'm the student. I'm going back to school.
You know those days.
Never liked school very much.
Nothing can go right, and everything goes just
So here am I, Bad Brya, the college student. This classroom is filled with students of different faculties.
And this is a photograph by Cindy Sherman, American artist Cindy Sherman. This is a photograph that is included in the series that is called Fashion Series. And what she does here is she really works with this clash between the imperfect body and the clothes that she actually got from famous fashion designers. Usually, when we look at fashion photography, let me go back to this one, the body matches the clothes. The body is in a perfect unity with the clothes. What Sherman does is she presents the contrast here. There's really a disagreement, there's really a clash between the body, the female body in this case, and beautiful designer clothes. And why we thought it's a good idea to put it on the cover of our book is that any kind of disruption or any kind of anger or any kind of tension, also in feminist theory, constitutes a way to produce a new knowledge and to produce new openings.
Okay, this is interesting, I must admit. So who are these students around me? Why did they decide to take a gender study class?
It really challenges you to think deeply about things and to create your own arguments and not just take over what other people say, but reflect on it. What do you think about it? And I think they give you tools here to actually do that.
I choose this class because I think it's a new perspective on the world. I'm interested in international relations, and this is just a new view on how women can be implemented in international relations and in world politics.
Back to the lectures. Dr. Iris van der Tuin is a philosopher. She explains the difference between American and European theories on gender difference.
So there is a slight difference between what continental philosophers do and what Anglo-American philosophers or feminists do. So now you can see that when continental philosophers that work with the concept of sexual difference are strategically essentialist when they talk about all women write a certain literature or all women act in a certain way, why is that strategic? Only for political reasons, only for changing certain societal power relations? Well, because there are not only differences between men and women, but there are also differences between women and even differences within each individual woman. Now I am a teacher, for instance, I'm standing in front of my students. When I'm in a seminar, I can be a student myself.
I'm sure this is all very interesting, but can anyone tell me how this is going to help me to change my perspective on the world?
Well, yeah, I can, because last year I did a research in Guatemala, a small one only for my bachelor project, and I really tried to combine all the things that I like in this research, which is Latin American studies and gender studies and development studies. So what I try to do is to see how women are represented in fair trade projects here in the West, in comparison to how these women actually experience their work in fair trade companies. So, well, obviously these experiences were not the same as the way they were presented here or represented here. So for me that was like a critical note to the way we in the West represent people at the other side of the world.
What the next teacher talks about sounds great. In her class, Eros and Pathos, they combine art and science.
The interesting idea about this course is that at the end you can make something yourself. This is the idea how, after exploring all these different notions of Eros and Pathos in different art form and different theoretical framework, you can manage to create something yourself in order to uncouple this kind of stereotypical representation of different bodies.
Creating my own art sounds great, but my head is spinning. I need some air. So what if I decided to go back to school? Who would be my fellow students? Mariela is a gender studies research master. She's already doing this for a couple of years. What is it like to be a gender studies diehard?
I think the inspiration comes from the idea that you can change something by researching literature or by reading lots of theories.
Do you want to change something?
I think so. I think that is the utopian vision that I think all feminists have, that you can actually eventually change very, very slowly, very gradually, but eventually that you can change something.
And what is it that you want to become after your study?
Well, one of my professors always told me that you should not, stress your ambition. So I've always said, after this, I want to do a PhD and continue analyzing and theories and literature, and eventually become a professor.
Exactly.
I think by becoming a professor,
you already make a change.
I already make a change, and then I can influence other students.
And inspire them.
Yeah, that's what I really want to do, inspire people, make them aware of how...
The issues which are going on.
Yes.
Ola is a Polish literature major. While on our way to the women's bookstore, I found out she's not just enthusiastic, but also critical.
The field is very new.
Yeah.
And I think that they had to make this revolutionary step, like break through the old thinking.
Yeah.
And it's only natural to become maybe a little bit dogmatic. But then I still think that they need, like the field needs people who are going to be critical in order to make it really influential and more activist.
Okay.
Gender studies.
Yes.
Let's take a look over there. Because this is our gender studies department.
Muslim and Western politics.
It's for the course. And of course about power.
I never knew that there were so many different studies possible in the position of women. Shelf after shelf of books about women. My head is spinning. How am I going to put all these theory into lyrics of a song? What inspired me? It all seems so theoretical. This is my own Eros and Pathos project. I'll combine all this information into my own lyrics, somehow.